Hey, one and all, it's your pal Drew Geraci, and I got some more comics from my spinner rack, and some I just bought that will find a home in my spinner rack. This, I'm not 100% sure though, because it's really flimsy, and I got it for like $2. I can't remember where. Oh, I was up at Phantom of the Attic, and back up in Pittsburgh, and you know it's ratty and Rawhide Kid. I checked. I'm not huge into cowboy comics, especially post Comics Code Authority, because which you could barely see here, because all they could do was like shoot guns out of each other's hands. There was no like bloodbath or showdowns that amounted to finishing the job. So this is issue 38, Attacked by the Red Raven. That really grabbed me too, because Red Raven was a character in the Golden Age who only appeared once, and later on Roy Thomas revived him. But this has nothing to do with that. I guess you have to do so many books a month, you just kind of throw everything out there. And so I guess somebody remembered the Red Raven and decided, well, here we go. This is 1964. The cover's holding on by a wing and a prayer, so to speak. Stan wrote this, Dick Ayers drew it, and is that? Let's see, is that a? It's like a. Oh, it's like a pen mark or something. I don't think Nightwind has been branded or anything. But really cool stuff. Really neat stuff. And drawing horses is tough. So, I'm not a big on Dick Ayers as a solo artist. Sounds like he's in a band. But he can do westerns really well. When he did superheroes, it was just kind of not quite Marvel. What happens is, guy's complaining, Red Raven is his nickname, and he meets a Native American who, for whatever reason, if you hunger for revenge, there are ways to obtain it, ways that you have never dreamt of. Mind your own business, mister. There's nothing you can do to help me. This is where you're wrong. I was a medicine man once at the Navajo, and now I am old and sick, and the days left to me are few, but I know secrets. Stop it, I said. No, you must listen. Soon I will go to my reward in the land above the clouds. My secret must not die with me. So, what's this, cloth? And he goes, but it's a special piece of cloth. And I'm thinking, what's the initiative for this guy doing it? It's like, why give it to, some criminal? It's like, hey, what is this crazy get-up? It looks like a homemade pair of wings. That's what they are. This is loco. No man is strong enough to fly by flapping his arms. He goes, unless the wings are treated by special Indian herb known only to the Navajo medicine man. And then on the downstroke, the feathers close together, allowing you to beat the air. So he has to do certain exercises. He has to work for weeks. He has to work on his arms, just flapping his arms, building up his upper body strength. And I feel like I could fly without wings. So that's all it is. There's no motor. There's no. It's not even magic. It's just the potion, I guess, is just like a garnish. And so this guy, he's just super strong that he can flap like a MFer. So pretty crazy stuff. Crazy. But it's fun. It's just they find Rawhide Kid upset, and then meanwhile, Flying Man, I don't know why, but that ordinary ex-jailbird just has a pair of wings to fly. Jailbird? Wings? That all ties in. My father was medicine man of the tribe before he sent him to jail. Found the secret of flying. La 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 la. Here's some wings. Okay. So get ready for the most unlikely Western story ever. I'll be spending the next few weeks practicing with these wings, developing my arms muscles so they can handle the strain. So this Red Raven guy he's he's even robbing more stuff, more banks, more stores than before. And okay, bring on them wings, flappity flappity flap. But it's fun. It's Silver Age silly. That's a really good panel. That's really interesting, because once in a while, Dick Ayers will come up with a really cool image like that. His stuff is, what he's trying to do, that's like a superhero pose. He usually doesn't do a very good job of it, but that's excellent. So, anyway, some kid like pencil lighting, no big deal. But now you must grant me one request. There's still too much evil in the Badlands. Too many men like Red Raven. We must see that none will ever find the secret of these wings. It's like, did he tell you about your dad or your grandpa? So in the backup, we get Gene friggin' Colan, man. He worked for DC, I think, on romance books, but he also did stuff for Marvel, which was still Atlas at the time. Timely was like the 40s. Atlas was like the 50s until the Marvel age of 1961. So this is Gene Colan doing some beautiful stuff, as always, and really complicated stuff. And then eventually, first superhero stuff he got was Iron Man and Tales of Suspense, thanks to Roy Thomas, and the rest is history. Now, let's go to something really wild art. Now, you're either going to dig this or you're going to hate it. I was buying Batman the Outsiders at the time, in 84 Summer Olympics special, where Geoforce has a different costume now. It was brown and yellow, which I kind of liked, but they changed it to green and yellow. So at least it's a non-standard, like, red or blue. So this is this guy who thinks he's Zeus. Big deal. Jim Aparo does the cover, but he didn't have... there was a deadline, and they had to get a fill-in artist, and that was Trevor Von Eden. And he pencils and inks this. And I've never... Mike Barr and Jim Aparo. He pencils and inks it, and I don't know quite the story behind this, but the art is so bizarre. It puts me in the mind of like a book that had to be done over the weekend, because it's like scribbly layouts, and I hated it at the time. I was like, oh man, this stuff was just shit out. Look how crappy all that stuff is. I paid my money for good art. That was one of those things. When Keith Giffen was doing his ambush bug thing, I was sort of the same way. I was kind of like, there'd be like whole pages for a joke that really wasn't that funny, and I'd be like, So, however, looking through the looking glass 40 years later, I totally dig it. It's totally, it almost has a Alex Toth kind of roughness to it, like an immediacy to it. And, if you think otherwise, that's fine. I'm fine. His Batman's really great. He did a Batman annual. And I think, did someone draw that eye in? No, they didn't. There was Reagan saying, we want as little bloodshed as possible. The world doesn't need another Munich. I agree. I'll do my best to handle my people if you handle yours. So there's a Secret Service guy ready to mix it up. And it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. One thing that's funny is like this woman who's an archer, she never has to shoot, because drawing someone aiming an arrow and about to shoot, that's really hard to do. Really hard to do. So he kind of cuts around that. And look at all those lines. This is nuts. And they're going to play a handball, but it's got spikes on it. There's Black Lightning and Metamorpho for the win. It's so insane. I totally dig it, though. Oh, by the way, DC was doing a lot of insets or previews inside of other comics. This is Flash Force 2000. It's Blue Devil, who was bringing back the fun in comics. It lasted about 2 years or so. This is Robert Loring Fleming, who co-wrote Ambush Bug, and he wrote Thriller, and then Dennis Cohen, great penciler, inked by Sal Trapani, which is really interesting because Sal Trapani's kind of a slick inker, and Joe Orlando is the colors. That's great. But Dennis Cohen, his stuff is very sketchy, like deliberately so. He's kind of his own version of Bill Sienkiewicz. So having Sal Trapani on board really kind of, I don't know what, it kind of standardizes it into a regular comic style as opposed to what Dennis usually does. So, I mean, there's some cheats in here, like this page here. It is, it probably took, an hour to do pencil inks, maybe that. And there's another arrow. So, you don't see anything. Big Time Rush. I love that face. And like I said, I despise this issue. I really felt like I was ripped off. I was so pissed off about it. I mean, Jim Aparo came back the next issue, but you know, I think I'm repeating myself. So I'll stop that scratch opening the window. That kid, man, that is so Toth looking there. That's great. Oh boy, I'll get my jacket. And classic Batman kind of panel. So the outsiders show up, and everybody's happy. So let me know what you think of the art. If you think I done like lost a spring in my head, that's okay. You can say that too. There was this one month or a week where Marvel came out with these like alternative takes on classic characters. They had actually, I don't even know what the whole point of it was, because some of it deviated from the original and some didn't. Like the Captain America one had a John Romita cover, and I think the Fantastic Four was pretty much the same. They had a different logo. And here we go. We got Tony Isabella as the writer, and the art is by I want to say Eddie Newell, but it's not. Where is it? Give me a second, everybody. It is Eddie Newell. I was right, and he did Black Lightning with Tony Isabella early in the 90s. It only lasted like 10 issues or so, but boy, oh boy, do I love this artwork. Boy, oh boy. It's just intense. But then it's like, it simplifies, or not simplifies it. These kids don't look like murderous like some people only have one style. So this guy can do kids, and I think that's great. Her hair, her face, and her freckles, that's really well done. And a kid's face too. Kids are hard to draw. Kids, horses, motorcycles. Let me think what else is hard to draw. Oh, shooting an arrow, yeah. Shoot that poison arrow through my heart. And I sing good. Warlord. And these are standalone issues, so this Daredevil, he has, much like the Ghost Rider, he has like a penance stare that he uses. Some of it looks like, it puts me in mind of Klaus Janson. That might have been a inspiration. So, I showed the brave Angela where she would reside for all eternity, and I shall do the same for you. So, pretty cool. It's so, it's not canon or anything. It's just one of the side projects. So DNAgents came out from Eclipse Comics. Famous TV and comic book writer Mark Evanier is the writer, and Will Mignot, who is known mostly as an animator. He was an animator before and after this for Ruby Spears, I think. And I read my cousin's copies of these because there was a period where he was buying everything, like all these, as well as Marvel and DC. He was buying a lot of indie comics and smaller publishers like First Comics and others. And so I'd get a free, peek at and read some of these issues. And I really liked it. But this cover, that's kind of a waste of space there. I mean, it's okay, but it takes away from that is so dramatic. And he's saying, who killed Angela Krell the first time? That's such a great tagline. That's such a, I mean, I could see that on a TV show. So, provided my dogs aren't listening, because they're very sensitive critters. Give me a second. Okay. They think they heard some up in the attic, so they were just looking out for daddy. I mean, this is so dramatic. And the book, I'll tell you up front, there's a Steranko motif. The art of Steve Ditko never came out. There was Cat Ironwood was going to her, Dean Mulaney, and Mark Upchurch. It never came out. Years later, what happened was Eclipse, they got flooded out, and this is before JPEGs and all this stuff, and a lot of artwork got destroyed. And I'm not saying they got original art by Ditko, but they probably had photo stats they had taken That I don't know for sure. But here they are, the DNAgents. And what I did like about them is the different physicality. Like, you know, Tank was, of course, the big, bulky, generic guy. She was this, you know, little gosh shucks gal from the South. And he had muscles, but he was wiry. He was thinner. And this kid's kind of a, I don't know what he is. He's like, I don't know, 15 maybe. And then Rainbow has that classic, you know, cheesecake look. Just to be honest, inked by Al Gordon, who would go on to ink a little of everything because he's just spectacular. But a little background here, but it's a really well done story. I just passed a page. I had a lot of cheesecake to it, and there were complaints in the letters pages about it because it was a bit much. You know, you had them like standing around in panties and stuff, and they took the advice. You know, Will Minyo decided to change it. And this is Crossfire. I think I did an episode on him too. He was like a cat burglar and great costume. There's Surge, not to be confused with the late 90s pop that came out. This is way before that anyway. So, color holds here. And this is like professional grade. Whoa! See, I told you. There's just a lot of cheesecake, but and there's a follow-up. Who's doing this? Oh, yeah, okay, same team. But Mike Royer is inking it. So, it's a cool series. But like I said, the first half year, there's a lot of that kind of cheesecake if you're overly adverse to that kind of stuff. And then, it straightens its course. And also, the cheesecake stuff isn't really part of the story. So you could kind of ignore it. It's not... there was even the woman, her name is Rainbow. There was a Rainbow and Crossfire miniseries that came out also by Eclipse Comics. And here we go. This is a real oddity. It's a one-shot that really did not get promoted at all. It was Avengers, the Ultron Imperative, and it should have been square bound because it's so thick. It is very thick, and it's got fantastic artists. No less than Barry Windsor Smith doing the cover. How about that? Which is run $5.99. It was, and this came out in 2001. Worth every penny. John Paul Leon, Paul Smith, Grummett, Kiesel, McCrae, Hodgkins, Starlin, Al Milgram, Pat Olaf, Livesey, Jorge Lucas, Mike Royer, and Klaus Janson. And unusual. There's unused promotional drawing by several artists that you'll really enjoy. So here's John Paul Leon, who we lost. He was very young. Oh, not very young. He was middle-aged, but he passed away way too soon. I never liked these images. It looks like a cheap airbrush effect, like you put on the side of your van. So then we go into Paul Smith. Wow, man, oh man, I love Paul Smith, and this is his later work too. It's he had changed his style a bit when he did the Golden Age for DC Comics. It was a 4-issue square-bound miniseries by DC with JSA. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. But man, look at that. Such grace he puts on his the figures. And the other thing, too, is he's really changed his rendering style. You know, he's not doing... it's less... I don't know, less noodly, I guess. I'm not describing it well at all. But... it's beautiful. Like, that kind of face, like with Wanda, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And, classic Iron Man armor. Now we go to Tom Grummett, who did Superboy for many, many years. And, I can't remember. I think Carl Kiesel was writing it and inking it, and it was Superboy was a great book. It lasted 100 issues. And now we have... Who's this guy? Oh, that's Pat Olaf. That's who it is. Yeah. And then we get into... Who's that guy? Oh, it's Jim Starlin. Okay, that's right. After that... Maybe I got Olaf mixed up. But all that matters is it's really good. Really, really good. And I don't know if this has been reprinted or added to collections. This is a Jorge Lucas doing his Kirby style. And as far as I know, that's been his only style. I could be wrong. He did a really cool issue of Hulk Annual about this time. And, it's unapologetically Kirby-ish. I just love all these styles. There's, what's her name? It's Ultron's bride, but she's called something else, like War Child or something. So, that coloring is intense too. It's gotta be tough. I can't remember her name. She's Ultron, but she has Hawkeye's wife's personality. Bobby Drake was her name. No, that's Iceman. Bobby Morse. So it's tough on him to fight her there. Here comes Klaus Janson. And this is a takeoff of the first appearance of Ultron, where he gets defeated and some kid comes along and kicks the helmet or the head. So we got Don Heck and Jerry Ordway. And man, that is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. This was the original cover to Avengers number 67, I think it was, when the Vision started to betray the Avengers. And it was unpublished. It was in the Kirby Collector, or no, it was in Comic Book Collector, which was also published by Tomorrow's, and it was never inked. So I think, and then it was definitely never colored. So this is some fancy, I don't know. It's pretty neat though, even though it's like my least favorite period of Avengers. And here's the payoff, baby. Paul Smith doing a imaginary early cover. I saw Paul Smith a couple years prior to this at San Diego Con, and he had a table, and I had a table a little further down, and I went and visited, and he had like full-size 11 by 17 photocopy or photostat of this, and I was so in love with it. I didn't buy it because he wasn't selling there. He was just there promoting himself. He didn't have anything. I mean, I guess he could have sold the original art, which I can't imagine was worth it. Look at that. It has the short-lived Giant Man helmet. That's how much of a fan Paul Smith is. And look how the Wasp is. Very coquettish, but, and Cap's sort of like a... Hulk is just insane there. And I dig it. I dig it. So these are some comics from the Spinner Rack, and I hope you check them out. And help me with my Patreon. Nah, I don't have any Patreon. I don't. But that's okay. I don't take any ads. I'm not big on ads and YouTube channels. I know a lot of people make their living that way, and that's cool. It's just too complicated for me. I want to do, shows that I would want to watch. So, anyway, tell me if you have any of these, and if you didn't know of any of these, or, any of the creators, if you have comments to make, what books you liked best. If you have a comment that completely disagrees with me, hey, I got no problem, like we're all here for the love of comic books, and we share in that, and story and art and comics history, and lots of fun. Comics are great. That's it, everybody. You take care, and I will see you next time.